Welcome to the Crafty Mini, and this is episode 3 in the miniature sort of painting for beginners, and in this one, basing. So we've built a miniature, we've done a very simple paint job, now we're going to base it. So here's the finished product. Now what we're going to use, this is an idea I've adapted from a good friend, Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, so I'll leave a link to him in the description, go and check his channel out. But yeah, we're going to use polyfiller. Really simple, very cheap. This large tub here I got from a local hardware shop for a couple of pounds, and this has already done a couple of hundred miniatures and it's still going strong. All I did is I've just put a bit of extra PVA glue in the tub, mixed it in and just go from there. But I'm using this shaper tool. You can use whatever you need, an old blade, old paintbrush if needed, and you're just grabbing it, and what we're doing is we're blending in that where that first base goes onto the second base and just getting this all over. Now to be fair, when this stuff fully dries and cures, it's not bad for a snow base either. Maybe just a bit of tundra, sort of a bit of colouring or things, and it might actually work. This dried a lot better than I thought it would. But I'm just going around, so the main thing is to blend those two pieces together so we don't see that noticeable line, and just covering the entirety of the base in the fill out. Really simple. Now the whole idea and the concept behind basing is it just ties the miniature together, makes it look, you know, a bit more appealing to the eye rather than just a simple disc, or in this case 2 discs that have been stuck together, and it just gives that little bit of punch and a little bit of extra character. You can do as much or as little as you want. So on this one we are just going to do the bare bones, very simple, and it's just the polyfiller, but I'll go through some other stuff later on, show you some things that I've worked on in the past. Now with this, once as it starts to dry, give it about 20 minutes, and I'll just go back in with the shaper and just tap it around just to create a bit more texture, because it's quite smooth to start with, and then I just left it overnight and it fully cured. It's, as I say, it's got a little bit of PVA in there in the tub that's mixed in, and that's what makes it harden, and it's ready to go once it's dry. And you can see here just how easy this is. So simple olive drab base coat over everything, over the entirety of the polyfiller once it's dried, and then I'm just going in, I'm touching up the raised areas just to give it a bit of colour definition, and we'll slap a wash on it. Really easy. So again, following the whole concept of this little mini series, yeah, get a nice easy miniature, take your time painting it, base it like this. You've got a battleground, like a muddy sort of medieval battleground ready to rock. You know, if you want to do something sci-fi, let's say for your first miniature, paint it a different colour, like a nice red or a blue, and it could be just an alien sort of landscape. Really simple to do, and very effective, and as I say, it ties all your miniatures in, and you'll be surprised how nice they look with a finished base. Now in a moment, once we finish this, I'm going to go through some other base materials you can use and show you some finished results based on that. Right, and as you can see, all finished, and it's a really simple and effective way to do like a muddy battleground, and it is just polyfiller and a couple of paints. A wash, that's optional. I like to put it on just again like we did with the miniature itself, gets into the recesses and just makes it punch a little bit more. But don't be put off by how simple this is. It's effective. Get that first box set that you've done completed, do it like this, maybe change up the colours, the colour of the base, the colours of the uniform, you know, go through, practice other things, but this is the key point, is practice practice makes perfect. None of us in this hobby managed to turn this on our first day of doing it. Our paint jobs were, were shocking. We had to go work our way through it and keep doing this yourself. Have fun with it. When you get to the first finished miniature, sit and enjoy it for a little bit as well. It should be a sense of achievement that you've done all this hard work. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't look perfect like someone who's been doing it for 20 years. Just enjoy it. So what we'll do, we'll go through a couple of little glamour shots and things, and then I'm going to, at the end, to tack on to the end of this video, I'm going to go through a bunch of other basing materials you could get if you wanted. And again, the caveat there is, just like with the brushes and the paints, spend as little or as much as you want. Don't think you have to buy these things. Right, so the miniature's done, all nice and simple. I'm just going to go through some of the basing stuff now. This is a variety of things I've collected over the years. So starting off with sand, nice and simple. Now this is a box of the old Citadel stuff. Fans of the hobby will know how old this is just from the label. I don't use it that much, to be honest. It's very, very sparing. It's only if I'm doing like a sand themed. But you can make your own. Just get yourself some sand, sieve it through. Really simple. Next up are these little bark chunks that you can get from any sort of modelling shop or make yourself, and they look like nice little rocks or bits of slate on a base. You just take a couple, glue them on, and again it just adds another layer of texture, another bit of sort of uniqueness on the scenery front. Really simple, and I think these are they're just coconut bark or something, and they've just been painted black. This is how I got them from the store, and I've just put them in this little jar. Right, on to the next thing. So this is old school flock. Again, it's not one I use as much now because the colours tended to be very, very vibrant. And if you look at old 80s painting manuals and things, you'll notice they are. But it's a nice one to mix in with other stuff. This is effectively, it's like a sawdusty sort of consistency. And it's just been... yeah, and you can mix this with, say, the sand to get different types of textures and things. As I say, I don't use it as much these days, but it's still a good one to have. And you'll be surprised at all of this basic material, how far it goes. Now, this stuff is called Granny's Mesh, I think. And it's used for like cross stitch and stuff. You can get it from Hobbycraft and other sort of hobby stores in the UK. It's really good for sci-fi sort of flooring. So if you're doing a sci-fi miniature, cut out a chunk of this with an irregular shape, put it on the base, and then a couple of coffee stirrers, and away you go. You've got a very simple sci-fi base. It's a bit of a bugger to paint, so I recommend spraying your bases before you glue your minis on, but it's good stuff. Now this is a mixture of things from over the years. Now this stuff in particular I use for all of my 28mm scale bolt action army that I've got, and it's predominantly tea leaves. So there's about 4 or 5 black tea leaf tea bags, and then I put 1 chamomile tea bag, and that on its own looks like a forest ground. That is the right scale for 28mm. Then it's got things like bits of cat litter in there, any little small stones, rocks. Whenever I base something and I've got the excess sweepings on the desk, they go into this pot, and it's just mixed up over time. There's you might not be able to see on camera there, but there's little bits of flock and fluff and things. Anything that's on the desk at the time when I've just finished a project and used any of my basic materials just gets put into here and mixed up, and that's a good sort of all-rounder for a forest floor. Now on to clump foliage. So with this stuff, it's I don't know. I think it's sponge that's been dyed and just basically ground up, and it's clumped together. Now the nice thing with this, you can do pieces as big or as little as you want. So you see here this big piece that I've got, and I can just break it up. And again, the off bits of this is what goes into that previous tub. But this is really nice, and you can mix the colours and ground them up in your hands, and you've got these nice colours for like moss and things. Or depending on the scale, this could do treetops as well. But yeah, it's quite a simple one, and a little goes a long, long way. I've had that tub now 3 or 4 years, and I'm nowhere near using it. Now this next tub, this is perhaps the most ubiquitous common thing you'll see on any miniature wargaming sort of thing. It's grass tufts. There are tons of different colours, different types, and they are self-adhesive. I tend to glue them on anyway, but you basically just pull out a tuft, put it on the base, and it just gives a punch of colour, and you can get like browns, greens and such. Army Paint to do a good set. This was all off, I want to say it was off Amazon actually. Now the tufts are flattened slightly, but I'll reshape them before I put them on. And I've got a variety of other things in there, and you know, you can get like forest land, tundra tufts and things. Now this stuff, I'm not sure what this is actually called, but it's clump foliage with actual branches, and I use this primarily for my camouflage on my tanks for the bolt action stuff. It's really good for sitting down the sort of skirts of the tanks and things. And then this is a current purchase I've got off Amazon, so it's pond decorations. So little flowers, little plants. They're not a bad scale. You could use them for terrain, on scatter terrain as a piece as is, or you know, break bits off, stick them onto bases and things like I'll show here. And all I'd say is just make sure you just repaint them, because the colours are quite vibrant. And then, you know, just bits of greens, or if you want to do like an alienscape, maybe turn these plants into like a pink or a purple and such. But yeah, really simple and effective way of doing terrain. And usually the scale's pretty good, it's there ready for you. Right, UV resin, this is an expensive outright, but you can get a lot out of it. You need a UV torch, as shown here. But this stuff's good for doing puddles. If you want to mix it with a bit of red paint, partly cure it and keep mixing, you can do like really cool blood effects and things. This is something I'll play about with a future video to show you. But that is very good stuff. It's just bear in mind, you know, it's another expensive outlay, and all of this here you see is optional. You don't need it. You can just stick with the polyfiller, paint it and done. Now for more sci-fi things, you've got polystyrene rods of various sizes and shapes, coffee stirrers, old bits of headphone wire, which is what this is. They make really good pieces of like cabling and things. I keep anything like that I see or I've used and not, you know, and still got bits left, I keep in little bags, because you never know when you'll need them. It does mean that your organisation on your desk has to be better, because it can sometimes be a minefield and a bit of a mess. But even this is a little offshoot from a 3D print, and it's quite a unique shape, and I thought, right, I'll keep that for something. You know, bits of cork. These are really good. They make nice little chunky boulders on the bases and things. I've got these PVC pipes that are miniature scale. There's all sorts of stuff I've had over the years, and I just keep it because you never know when you need it. But I'll show you now a couple of images of a base I've done with more of the foliage stuff, so you can see another version if we were to take this to another level. Right, and this is an example of the sort of things you can do with more basic materials. So this is purely the miniatures on its base. I've got some bits of cork to give it bits of elevation. I've used the polyfiller to go in and blend everything together. Then a bit of PVA glue, put the mixture base on top, bit of clump foliage, and a few of those little black slate pieces, and that's it. Really, really simple. And you can see how it adds a bit more visual interest to the miniature and things. And it's one of those, like the miniature painting, it's all about practice and taking your time. Now this is the end of the sort of miniatures for beginners, so hopefully by the end of this 3-part you've learned how to build a miniature, how to clean it up and get it glued together, how to paint it at what I would consider a good standard. It doesn't have to be all singing and dancing. I always make a differentiation between what like a board game or miniature game level and something that's for a display. But however you take it, so you've painted it, you've based it, and you've got your first miniature. And if you're following these steps, I hope it helps, and it gets someone into the hobby, because it's a good bit of fun. It can be expensive in a minefield, but only if you let it. And again, that core rule is have fun with this. Don't take it too serious. It's a hobby at the end of the day. It's for you to have a bit of fun with. But yeah, hope it's helped. On the next video we'll be doing back to some more traditional painting. I've got some other things, some cool 3D prints that have just come in the post, so I'll be working through them, and then I'm going to be working through my Cursed City box set and a couple of product reviews, because I've got some new stuff, one of which has absolutely blown my mind, but you'll see that in a future video. So thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.